in hindsight, and again, I do want to rewatch it at some point soon, probably in the next week, an episode or two a day versus all at once, um, where I want to kind of go back, because I feel like, when I finished that first episode, I was really, really sad, and I don't mean in an issue of like, oh, it's not as funny. I was just like, when did Michael become so freaking pathetic?
But I like that.
No,
because
but
to be honest with you, like, he was always the quote unquote best of the bunch, but he was no prize.
And that was
like, he never listened to his son.
And that was
the light was shown on it a
right.
lot more.
And that was kind of what
episode.
I was wondering. I'm like, was this guy always this kind of terrible? Like, I mean, I never had the delusions like, oh my god, he's the best guy in the world.
They could take it farther, because with time, the point, part of it, I felt, was the point is, like, not even regressed, it's just the point, like, it's been 7 years and you didn't evolve at all. Like, that alone, he's making the same threats. I love that he finally followed through and went to Phoenix and then realized it just wasn't right for him.
Right.
Because if you're making the same threats, I mean, come on.
Right. But it was one of those things where I was watching it and I'm like, was he really just this pathetic the entire time? Because, he was the one quote-unquote sane person in the family. It's because, George Michael...
Sane doesn't mean...
Right. But it was just one of those things where I was like, wow. And I mean, I think there were some characters... I mean, I never would have thought that Job would have worked as well by himself the way he did. Like, I was like, oh, is it going to be too much?
Well, it's this type of story they gave him. And I will say that, like, if he was in it... I know that they use some people less because of their other schedules. And, like, if he was in it more than he was... if he had more than the standalone episodes that he had, because like obviously there was more with Michael and even George Michael, and I think it might have been too much, but because a lot of what he used to do in the original series that was so clever, he didn't do anymore, and it was a different story. But I mean, that being said, like, I don't know. I felt like you always knew who these characters were, but I feel like seeing them now alone, in a sense, like especially like a character like Lindsay, who literally went off and had her own journey, seeing her alone, you got a much different side to her, and a side that I didn't think she had, because she was always so vapid and so just self-absorbed, and she never listened to her kid, and clearly was not in a happy relationship. But then to take her out of that environment and to see, well, who are you? Like, when you're trying to better yourself, she actually followed through in certain ways that never should have worked.
Interesting. So I did not think that her episode worked.
She obviously... Well, no, I'm not talking about the I'm saying, like, the character. Like, the fact that she even went off with that guy. Like, that she cared about the fact that he couldn't see her, and that for a little while she didn't have to be the prettiest person. Like, it didn't bother her. And then obviously she went back to who she was, and we saw that, you don't change your spots. Like leopard, or what's the saying? Right. So... Yeah.
See, and whereas I felt like that, so much of that just rang false for me. That's why it didn't actually feel like it was...
Well, it rang false in the sense that, like, if that had been who she was at the end of the season chunk or whatever, absolutely, because, again, you don't change who you were, but the fact that she tried, and then we saw her, and then we ultimately saw it not work, I love that we got to spend that time with her, to see that, like, she actually just tried. Like, in the earlier seasons, all of her...
Angry naps.
What?
She took an angry nap. So I was thinking...
Well... Yeah,
so that was her definition of...
Yeah. But I meant like when we saw her climb in that tree.
Yeah.
There was always ulterior motives, and it was always above and beyond. And this time it was a different approach. And I like, and she's one example, obviously, but I really like that, and I really like the whole woodblock app that got so blown out of proportion. I was like, I had no idea where they're going with that. I was like, the whole fake block thing. I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know that. What is he then? Are they making a joke about Zuckerberg? Like, whatever. And then the fact that it was just something that got so through the grapevine.
That was really good.
I love that so much. And I love the fact that, like, most of it, like, I don't know, the whole maybe thing with her trying to reclaim some of the youth that she obviously lost. Like, there was just a lot of it that I really liked, and individually, and I almost wish that we could have explored more of it.